All right, today I am going to talk about how to loop rather, play that funky music, white boy. You can kind of use this as a little bit of a guitar lesson if you want to. But with this song, I tend to use it revolves around the chords that are playing. Is basically this vamp like this. That's pretty much the loop that I'm recording. So, a couple other things I want to mention. This is all set up in verse chorus. With the verse chorus set up, I'm not going to talk about how to do that today. Go check out some videos. Go look at John Paul has a good video out on how to set that up, as does Ben Rollins, as does J.D. Wonkers. And if you belong to the Boss RC500 group on Facebook, which I would recommend, good bunch of helpful guys there. There's also somewhere on the site, or people can at least point you towards a checklist of how to set up verse chorus looping. So that being said, what they've all said, and I don't necessarily disagree with, but I also find that with some songs, it's better to have loop sync on track one. I turn loop sync on track one. Maybe it's just the way that I use the looper, but I try to be flexible with that depending on the song. Sometimes having loop sync on is exactly the ticket. Sometimes having it on screws the whole thing up, and maybe it's an operator error, but I kind of use that interchangeably to have loop sync on and tempo sync on or off depending on the song and the track. So verse chorus setup, the exception being that loop sync is on. The other thing I do under the rhythm menu, and you can get to the rhythm menu by holding down your on-off button. And that'll take you to the rhythm menu. Your first setting is going to be level. You want to scroll over just past where it says loop start, and then you'll see a stop. Now, where it says stop, I have that turned off. It's by default on. I have that turned off because I want to be able to use my drums independently in this song, as I do with most songs. And I have a MIDI pedal set up for rhythm play, start, and variations. And basically, what that does is I have my buttons set up as so. Button 1 is record, play, stop, clear. Button 2 is record, play, stop, clear. I'm talking about the three buttons on the bottom, how I have them programmed. The button under where it says track select is going to be programmed to do all start. So the button under record, play, I've changed that to do record, play, stop, clear for track 1. Button 2 where it says stop, underneath there, I have that record, play, stop, clear for track 2, and under track select I have all start on. That'll start and stop start and stop your loops for you. So there's that, and then I have my rhythm play because when I hit all start in this instance, it's going to keep the drums going for me, which is exactly what I want for this song. So to do that, when I scroll onto the rhythm menu, again, just to recap, just past where it says loop start is stop, and it's on by default. I turn it off so I can operate the drums independently. And what else is there to say about this song? Really nothing. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's verse chorus setup. Again, loop sync is on. Loop stop is off. And I have my drums set up on my MIDI pedal to do the variations and play, start, and stop, that kind of thing. So that said, this is a song that's very amenable to looping, I think. It even has a stop in there where when it goes over to the next section, you can switch. You can record the guitar part on one part, and the next time it comes around, add the bass in, which is how I do it. So there's basically two parts that, well, actually kind of three parts. There's that just kind of plays throughout the verse, and I'll show you what I do with it. I'll lay the clean rhythm down first. I'll lay the bass down next, and I'll just sort of play along with the track from there. So there's that part, which goes. Well, the guitar part is the lead part is just going. I use ninth chords, right? Just so I can have this version of a ninth chord, the Jimi Hendrix chord. So I can stretch my finger out to grab those two frets up here and just walk down. Which I think is a cool trick I learned a while back. Let's see, there's a part where it stops. Everything stops except the drums. So play that fucking music. Whatever that part does right there, you'll see it. But it starts right there, and it just has the drums, and that allows me to set up the next part, which goes like. See it? For you guitar players out there. It does that there, it does that here at B flat, and then it walks down up on the 12th fret like a pentatonic sort of thing. I'll play it through it real quick. That's really all the parts to the song, except for the very end of the song. If you want to stick to it like it is on the record, as I remember it, it ends. It's the only time where it goes up to A to do. I'm doing that currently, but it's not real practical to try to lay on three guitar parts and a bass part in that part for the short duration that part comes. So I just do guitar and drums right there. I turn my loop off and I just play the loop along with that. Then I go back to the verse part again, and just to go ahead and end the song the way that I end it. And that's kind of it. So verse chorus setup. Let's see, rhythm loop stops off. Drums and rhythm play and variations are set up separately. The loop stop is off, so the drums continue to play when I need them to continue to play. And that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and do the song right now, and hopefully I'll get through this. It's hard to think about this stuff and actually do it, but to me, that's kind of like the necessary part of learning a song like this, right? Is to go through this process of having to think through everything and learn and get your arrangements down and all that sort of stuff. So I generally do this pretty well. I'm going to try to do it perfectly here, but let's see what happens. And let me go ahead and do the song for you. And starts off with just so here we go. Was a funky singer, playing in a rock and roll band. I never had no problems, burning down a one-night stand. Now everything around me got to start to feeling so low, and I decided quickly just go down and shut down the drum stop, and I don't have to play it out, 'cause I can Set up the guitar to play that track to progress in it. So at this point, you've seen how I add the parts. There's really nothing except that on the very end of the song, I turn the loops off and just play the A rhythm, the A riff part along with the song, or along with the drums, and that's basically it. And I may consider just stopping it on the G part where everything's already programmed, so it doesn't sound empty at the end there. But we shall see. Let me know what you think. Okay, now I'm going to shut up and stop talking, and do the whole darn thing. I also have my MIDI pad up set to clear my recorded tracks, which is a whole other thing. But I have a clear track 1 and a clear track 2 on my MIDI setup. So I'm going to stop. I'm not going to talk the rest. I'm just going to play the song and maybe leave some comments at the end, and then we'll get there when we get there. But here's so start to finish. Here it is. Had no problems burning down the one night stand. Now everything around me got to start to feeling so low, and I decided quickly to just go down and check out the show. They were dancing and singing and moving to the grooving. And just when it hit me, somebody turned around and shouted, play that funky music, white boy. Play that funky music, white boy. Lay down the boogie and play that funky music. I tried to understand this. I thought that they were out of their minds. How could I be so foolish? See, I was the one left behind. But still I kept on fighting, losing every step of the way. I said I must go back there and look to see if things still the same. They were dancing and singing and moving to the grooving, and just when it hit me, somebody turned around and shouted, play that funky music, right? Play that funky music, white boy. Play down the boogie and play that funky music till you die. sad and shaky. I thought I'd have to leave it behind. Now it's so much better. I'm broken down in every way. I won't forget that feeling of how I learned my lesson that day. They were dancing and singing and moving to the groove, and just when it hit me, somebody turned around and shouted, "Play that funky music, white boy. Play that funky music, white. Play that funky music, white boy." Funky music, play that funky music, play that funky music, play that funky music, play that funky music. That's basically it. I made a couple mistakes in there, but you guys get the general idea. Let's see, what else is there? What else is there to say about that song? It's a fun song. It allows enough stops in there to be able to change your patches and your parts and stuff like that, which is really cool. And again, that part at the end, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that because it is just, and it might just sound a little empty after I've gone through all the work of adding bass guitar for all the other parts, because right now it just sounds like music. Lay down the boogie and play that funky music till you die. And however you want to end it right there. The other option is to go and just end it maybe on music. Play that funky music. I mean, there's lots of different arrangement kinds of things you can do. You could end it on by going back to the verse right there if you wanted to. But figure out an ending here for it. You could do it one of three ways. You can go out just on the G right there if you want, and then just kind of do that walk it down. You can go all the way through the A part, that part where the A riff, and just play along with the drums, and then just stop it with that. Or you can, you can go back to the verse. So that would sound like. Play that funky music. Play that funky music. Lay down the boogie and play that funky music. But I mean, so you can get really creative with your endings and things like that. But that's how I do this song. I hope it was clear. I hope it was helpful because we really went through a lot of concepts in here. We talked about adding verse chorus, which I would recommend people learn how to do, at least to have that option available to you with the RC500. When you get there, you know. I've actually kind of there's guys that don't do that at all. They turn tracks on and off and so on and so forth when they get to the next part. I don't know. So I'm not talking about that as being a rookie sort of thing, because probably one of the best loopers. I personally like a guy named Matt Bolton, who doesn't use verse chorus at all, but he turns his tracks and his parts on and off as he goes along, which I haven't really wrapped my mind around that too much. But so that's an option. But the thing is, with the RC500, there's just like a number of ways that you can just kind of customize it to make to fit your workflow, and this is the one that works for mine. So again, some of the parts we covered: verse, chorus, looping, and being flexible with your loop sync on or off. I'm flexible with that, and I turn my loop stop off. Remember, under the rhythm menu, just past rhythm start. Stop. Right after that is stop. I turn that off, and I operate my drums independently with a separate MIDI foot switch, which I use the MIDI Captain for, and I was using the FS7 just to do my variations and the rhythm play stop sort of thing, and then just kind of reaching down manually and switching from song to song on my board. That's what I was doing for the longest time. But that's it. So feel free to comment. Feel free to like, subscribe, and we will talk to you guys soon. And I hope this was helpful to somebody. Thanks.